Hello, Hank.
Hello, Jonathan.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I was just
Good.
checking whether we were in the wrong chat, but I think we're in the right chat.
Oh, I think we're in the right place. Yeah.
Yeah, there's maybe another meeting is running over time.
Yeah. I'm just gonna check Discord really quick and see if yeah, I guess we just wait a minute.
Yeah. Oh, there's hi, Sam.
How are you doing? What have you been up to these days?
We are
Are you talking to me?
we've been very busy with the standards
The
document.
specs. And the
Oh yeah.
Utah said he,
KERI, Caesar, and ACDC specifications.
Yeah, good.
Yep, made the deadline, hopefully.
Yeah, I just added another edit. It's in a pull request, but I wanted, I think it's just added. Some of the latest codes we added hadn't made it into the Caesar spec, so I want to make sure they're all in there. So there are 3 codes that got added. Still going to be here today. Let me see. Otherwise, I'm going to have to generate the minutes. Does somebody want to jump over to the dev implementers call and see if maybe people went there instead of here? Oh, Kevin's here. Okay. I haven't heard from Phil. He didn't say that he was not coming to this meeting. Do we, can you generate, or can somebody generate the agenda for the meeting? Oh, Kevin's wrapping up another call.
Are they normally documented in the discussions of the KERI Web of Trust?
No, the trust over IP has a special
All right. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
the wiki, whatever
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
whatever they use
Potassium.
now
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
at at
All right.
has a special Confluence wiki
Yeah. I'll
generates
go
the
there. I'll go there.
um
And then the KERI Suite Working Group.
Yeah, Phil's gonna be a little bit late. So I'm gonna figure out. He usually generates the.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it too,
event.
but they reorganized. They reorganized it. So I got this page. I will share it in the chat, but it doesn't bring me any further. I wanted to go to the meeting pages, and they used to be under.
Yeah, you have to generate one. So there's.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to
Meeting
go
notes.
to the.
This is the one, yeah, meeting notes. There we go. Hmm.
Okay, so it's a meeting notes template.
Yep, I see it now. Got it.
I think you hit create. I don't know if creates a new one. Oh, what that's doing. I've never done this new one.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking for a save as. That's how I did it in the past. So I took an old one, saved it as the new one, and then continued with that one.
Yes.
I think the problem is that I'm not logged in.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Yeah, that's
logged
probably
in, but
it. You're not logged in, it won't let you
Yeah.
do anything.
It's-
okay. So even though I'm logged into the Linux Foundation to um
Yeah, to the Confluence. I'm now getting they emailed me code, of course, and
yeah. So we'll go
so
through
now
the
I'm in here. To get back to the page. Meeting notes template.
yeah, but I'm not. So now that I'm logged in, no, it says I'm oh
About the
I
so
still have to log in after it does the email confirmation.
yeah, I got it now, most probably. So KSWG meeting Report.
How do you?
So, well, I created a duplicate of the meeting notes template, and
Oh, there we go. Okay. I see the more actions. All right.
where has my duplicate gone? My God.
Sorry, I'm late. I had to wrap up another call. Do you need help with the meeting notes?
Yes, it would be great if we got a copy of the template and start reporting in
Well, I thought you already made a duplicate.
yeah, I made a duplicate already, but that did not get the name that I wanted it to have. So it's somewhere in there. It's not listed, so I took the right, I chose the right date, 2025, 10/14, but it doesn't show up.
So neither of us know how to create a new meeting notes. So
Yeah, I'll
if you
make
could,
another duplicate again and
well,
some.
let Kevin do it, and then we'll
Yeah,
see
I
he
got
knows
it.
what he's doing.
Yeah, now it's here. I don't know whether.
I
Yeah,
just created
haven't
it.
made it yet. Not there. Yeah.
So
Right,
so
thank
you do so Kevin, do you duplicate the template, or is there some other action you do?
No, you just copy and paste the contents of it.
All right.
So you drag select the whole page, and then you create a new page.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I used to do. Copy an old report
Oh.
and then do the new date. But I
Oh,
thought,
I just don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know how you create a new one, because I'm looking in the menu and I don't see
Yeah.
a new. I
Yeah.
see a duplicate, move, convert, and export. Is
Mhm.
there? Maybe I don't have permissions to create new stuff.
Okay, I have the meeting notes
Yeah.
shared, so if you guys want to get started, go ahead.
Yep.
All right. I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting today. Remind everyone of the trust over IP antitrust policy notice. Those only members who have signed the necessary agreements can make contributions. Anyone else can be an observer. Do we have any new members here today for the first time? I'm not seeing anybody. So let's review the action items. So I believe the dossier spec, implementation guidelines spec, has been created. There's a repo for that now, and Daniel has contributed some text to it, and I believe that's true.
I don't know if he's
Go.
committed to the repository. He went over some of it at some internal Glyph meetings that we had last week, so there's been progress on it, but I'm not sure where the work is.
Okay, so but the repo's been created for it, but nothing's been pushed to it. All right, he's not here today. All right, so we should put an action item for next week just to review that next time, I guess. Make sure. I think he was looking for feedback, but I think he's been busy, so he didn't push it. I have an action item to notify versus mailing list, and I didn't know that. I actually don't know where you go to send a message with the Trustable IP mailing list. Is there a web page for that? I didn't look it up. Anybody know?
No, I've never had any luck getting on the mailing lists here.
Okay. So we're supposed to do a notification. So we're going to propose to put the specs forward as version 1 today. And I guess that requires that we notify members of the working group. I guess we can notify them on Discord. Does anybody know how you use the mailing list for this working group?
I can find the addresses. I'm subscribed to them.
Oh, okay. So I'm not even sure. Well, I don't know that any mails have been sent out recently, so I don't know if I have a mail. So is it a single email address? Does the working group mailing list, or is it just a BCC of a bunch of people in a list that you use to send to the mailing list?
There's a website and an address, and that's how we notified for the things like transferring, the specs from the
Okay.
KSWG. So I'm just trying to find where it is. I don't visit it often. It just comes into my inbox.
All right. So uh, 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 can you do that soon? Because we won't need to send that notification out, I guess, right away, so we can start the clock running after we conclude this meeting. I'm happy to compose an email, or I don't remember what the trusted IPs. My head's been just focused on getting the specs done. I haven't been thinking about the administrative details of how trusted IP works, because I haven't done that for a while. So would you be able to look that up
Yep, do it now.
today? Okay, great. All right. So announcements. Anybody have any announcements of interest to the members of the group? I have one announcement. There is a SETI summit at Utah Valley University this week on Thursday. It's an all-day summit with various speakers talking about state-endorsed digital identity. It appears that the preferred approach is a KERI ACDC based system. So there's about 200 people, I think, that are going to attend. IAW is is next week, so that's coming up, and we tentatively have a venue for the KERI Foundation conference next spring, but I'm trying to get the dates finalized with the venue, and hopefully I think I might have a meeting today. I'm trying to get got the UVU guys available, and I'm trying to get the somebody else available. So we'll see if we can get that finalized and get that announced. That's all the announcements I have.
That would be great, Sam, because then we can start the whole sponsoring actions.
Yeah.
Are you targeting for some
report?
time around IIW?
Yeah, the week before IAW in April. And the one complication is Utah State wants to have a spring SETI summit like the one they're doing this week. And so we had conversations with them about having both those be the same week, the week before IAW. So I just need to get confirmation so that we can pick the days of the week that the KERI conference will be, so that they're conjoint. So it's like trying to get three people to agree to something is three busy people is hard. Anyway, that's where we're at. All right. Let's go through reports. Anybody want to report on any of the activities? How about the Jonathan, you want to give us an update on what's happening with the DidWebS work?
Yeah, that's great. So Kent and I have prepared the materials to present DidWebS formally to the DID method working group for DIF recommended status. We reviewed that a couple weeks ago, and we are going to be doing the initial presentation, which kicks off the process tomorrow at the DID method working group meeting tomorrow. And
can you hold for just a second? It looks like nobody's
Sure.
scribing. I thought somebody was scribing. Does somebody want to scribe? Like none of this stuff is getting entered in the agenda. I think Kevin's looking something up. So we're seeing. So maybe.
Yeah, let me see if I can edit. It wasn't letting me edit earlier.
Yeah, sorry, I have 3 different things going on.
Too many things. In any case, that's really the update. So we'll be doing the introductory discussion tomorrow, and it's actually not the first time that the DIF working group has had a presentation on DidWebS, because when we were playing around with the format and the template that people fill out and all that, I presented DidWebS as sort of a guinea pig, but it wasn't the formal presentation. So tomorrow will be the formal presentation. People will ask questions. At that point, Kent and I will have a good idea of, I mean, we could, depending on how active people are, but we'll definitely know if they're drawing.
We're seeing Kevin's screen, so maybe Kevin stop sharing and somebody else share the screen. Sorry.
No,
Yeah, I'm trying to log in. It's not working for some reason today.
I'll try to pull it up. See if I can get it to you.
Well, and I
I'm
think that's
sorry to
pretty much.
interrupt you, Jonathan. Yeah,
That's okay.
I
I'm
just
just gonna
wanted,
get
I
it.
didn't want you to get too far ahead because we want to record it. So
Well, I think it'll be some semi-anticlimactic, because I think that really is the big piece of news. Just that we're kicking that off tomorrow, and then, I guess just so for everybody's information, once we've done that formal presentation, the next step is that Kent and I will schedule a first deep dive session, and we can do that pretty much at any time. I think we have to wait 2 weeks after the initial. No, we don't actually. Not for the initial deep dive. So we could do that anytime. We just need to get on the schedule. Likely it would be in November, and then after that we do the second deep dive, and then after that we enter the formal review period, and we wait 60 days, and then that would be the earliest that we'd have DidWebS as a diff recommended DID method. But we're on track for that. So
okay, So, so the other did methods, they've already gone through that 60-day waiting period. They've already did all that.
Only one has. Did Web VH has just finished its 60-day waiting period, and actually, because I've been on vacation, I wasn't at the meeting last week. So tomorrow, I imagine we'll be making the formal kind of announcement that Did Web VH has completed the diff recommended process, but it's the only one that has completed the process so far.
Oh, okay.
The other ones that
Well,
are
I
in
appreciate
flight
you.
are Did Web Plus and Did Web Checked. Or Did Checked, not Did Web Checked, Did Checked.
Which is from the checked.
Yeah, it's the
blockchain. Yeah.
right. It's the one non-web based did method that is in process right now. Kent, did you want to add anything to the report on Did WebS?
I'd say the only thing that it's worth adding for me is that there's one remaining dev task to make that we're aware of to make the current did WebS resolver fully spec compliant. We need to add a did KERI, also known as did, to the also known as section, whether or not there's a designated aliases ACDC issued yet. So to my knowledge, that's the last outstanding item. I do still need to do a full spec review, reconciliation between what the spec language says and what the code implementation is. Mm-hmm. So my goal is as we're going through this process, just as I'm able to get to it, to finish that last little task. It shouldn't be a whole lot of work, but that's the last outstanding item that I'm aware of. So nothing else new.
Are you also making sure that there's a did web, also known as? Those are the two that should always be there.
No, I wasn't. Thanks for mentioning that. I'm going to make sure and add that to the issue.
Those two should always be there. Should always be a did. There have to be by rule of the spec. There have to be a did web and a did KERI, because there always should be. I mean, those are just synonymous identifiers.
Okay. All right. I will make sure that's in the issue. Thanks, Jonathan.
Okay.
And then what was the date that you said could potentially be the earliest date of us getting did WebS as a standardized did method?
Well, I'm going to the language is not standardized, but it's the diff recommended qualifier or label. And it's 60 days after we do the second deep dive. So we have to schedule the first deep dive. Then there's a 2-week, you can't schedule a second deep dive until 2 weeks after the first. So you have to kind of think ahead. We're doing the presentation tomorrow. We'll get whatever feedback we get, and it's going to be the end of October pretty soon. So I'm guessing our first deep dive will be in November. If we're lucky, we get the second deep dive in November, but then we could say, just for kicks, early December we did the second deep dive. Then 60 days from that. So say December, to pick a date, December 7th, it would be like February 7th, something like that.
Got it. Makes sense. So sometime February, possibly sooner.
If we push and just really drive it through the process, it would be sometime early next year. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
Yep.
Any other reports? Any other activity? Anything on?
Is there, sorry, real quick, is there a link to it? You said there's a meeting tomorrow where you're presenting did WebS for the first time?
Yes.
Do you have a link to that?
To the meeting or to the template material that we filled out?
To the meeting.
I do. Do we have other items on the agenda? Can I just fish around for it for a minute? So if you want to get it,
take your time.
Okay, I'll see that. I mean, I definitely have it.
I have a little report. Go ahead.
Okay, Bill, do you just want the like the link, the Zoom link to the Zoom meeting, or do you want something to like the official diff page where the meeting?
No, that's fine. I think the Zoom link will be fine.
Okay, great.
So just while he's getting that, I've been pushing to get a release of both KERI and Signify TS and Signify Pi. I updated Signify Pi to the latest KERI Pi recently. some of the changes that have been merged into KERI that are being reviewed to be merged into Signify TS include some type checking. So Fergal's team from the Cardano Foundation has added a bunch of type checking. And we're adding stronger types around the interface between Signify TS and KERI. And then I added some things myself. I added some things for testability for the VLEI end-to-end testing that we're doing in the concepts and Python test. And then some other things like proper graceful shutdown, better logging. And then there's a upcoming pull request to KERI that will be just code formatting. Anyway, which I'm pushing to get a 0.20 release of KERI and then another NPM release of Signify TS. And that's all there is on that.
When you say latest, what version are you talking about?
1.2.7. So I haven't done the
Oh, okay.
1.3 yet. 1.2.7.
All right, any other reports? I think there were a couple of pull requests for, I think Kevin you had a pull request for KERI Pi for environment configuration, is that correct?
I think he got called
Right.
off. Yeah, I saw one come in.
Yeah, I think I saw one review. I haven't had a chance to look at it. Do you want to look at it? Do we need to have
Yeah, let me
somebody
bring
else
it
look
up.
at it?
Hold
Okay.
on. If I do
We
this,
can-
can you still see my screen?
We see Google. Now we
Can you see
see
KERI?
your,
KERI
So
Pi?
now we
we-
see KERI Pi. Yeah.
So Kevin pulled in a part of the work for configuring LMDB sizes. We had it on our fork under Glyph. And so he took a subset of that, just the environment variable configuration version, and has that in this PR. It allows you to use a environment variable to configure the map size, LMDB map size for each of the subclasses of LMDB.
Can you also do those configuration in the config file, or does that already exist, and this is adding the environment, or this is the environment but without the config file?
So I had that. I had some PRs open for that to be done from the config file. Yet we had some changes requested. Since I haven't had the time to go and reopen those PRs, so we just closed those PRs. And so while we're waiting, Kevin decided to just sort of get this in so that we have at least something. And then I'm going to come back through. I've got a couple tasks on my queue. In a couple of tasks, I'll be going in and adding the configuration file version.
Okay.
I do have
That's
that
my
on
only
a fork.
consideration is that we have the same configurability in both the environment and the config files, so that you're not stuck using one or the other, because one has more configuration options, the other one doesn't.
I could just
Yeah, so-
add that to this PR.
And then tests. Okay. Okay, well, in order to add it, this is Kevin's PR. Do we need to merge this one first and then?
Sure.
Okay, I'll merge this one first and open another PR. I'm not gonna do it on the call, but I'll do it as soon as we're done.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So that's the KERI thing. All right. Well, so agenda items. The first item on the agenda is we want to put the 3 specs forward for public review. And then I have a couple of discussion items if people are interested after we do that.
So sorry, you said vote. You said vote to move.
Yeah. So and then I have a couple of discussion items. assuming that we have time left.
And then did
One,
you,
one,
what are they?
yeah, the discussion item is has to do with registrars and observers for ACDC state registries. And the other one is a new application of an ACDC state registry, which is a issuee usage registry. And I created 2 discussion items in the KERI Pi repo on those items. But let's go back to the first one. So those are the 2, and if we have time, if you want to talk about them, we can talk about it. So
What did
the
you
current
say, DM?
issuee, I'm sorry, yeah, the discussions, just go there. ACD issuee usage registry, that one, and then ACDC state registrars and observers using TELs. So those are the 2 discussion items. So 1095 and 1094.
ACDC issuee usage. Okay. And then I'll get the other one in here. So we want to go back to the vote.
Okay. Yeah. So Hank and Core and I have been working. Hank's been putting in some long hours to get the specs updated with the latest spec up T stuff so that all of the normative, informative, glossary, and cross references are all live and work. I added this summer all of the working examples and have continued to update those and make sure they're updated, and added the latest version, the latest code table entries, so that all of the code table entries that have been added to KERI Pi over the last few weeks are in the spec. It's actually in a pull request that I didn't accept yet, but I created that pull request before the meeting. So the proposal is that the current versions of the spec are normatively complete. There may be additional editorial, changes made, but that we change the current specs or update them to version 1.0 draft. That right now show as version 0.9 draft, and then start the public review process for finalizing the version 1.0. And so instead of asking if there, so we can vote by saying, are there any, do we have a second? I guess we need a second. Does somebody second the proposal? I'll wait till Phil. Okay, we have a second. Are there any objections or abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. And then we need to publicize this on the mailing list so that other people have it. What is Kevin, do you know what the minimum public review period is that we need to make sure we notify?
So when we tried to do this under the technical stack working group, we were told that 2 weeks wasn't long enough given the size and quantity. I have no idea if we're going to be told the same thing again. So I guess it's up to us.
Well,
I mean,
let's do a month then, because our next meeting's in a month, and if any things come in that time period, we won't meet until then anyway. So I think that's fine. So our public review period is a month until our next meeting in November.
Now that the motion passed, I will change the number from 0.99 to 1 for the saved version. It will be
Yeah, and in the rendered version, it's saying 0.9, not 0.99. So
That's
there's a
right. No,
line.
you have to look at the versions on top. So you click on the top
Yeah, yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
But the spec itself needs to state the version. So the
Exactly.
rendered
Yeah, yeah,
version,
that's right.
yeah, you
Yeah,
have to change it in both places. One
yeah,
place
exactly.
isn't good enough.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
I will change the draft, or what would say the latest. I will change into a number above 1.0.
Okay. And then the pull request for the Caesar spec, when I run the menu item 4 to pull in the XREFs, it
Mhm.
breaks the
Yeah, yeah.
glossary.
We'll fix
So
that apart from this meeting.
is that just the Caesar spec that happens, or is that
No,
is that the
no. I generate them over and over again for you to create the links.
yeah, but anybody generating
Yeah.
it, so it doesn't do me any good till you run the menu item 4 because it just breaks it. If I just render, it doesn't break it.
Okay.
But if I do 4, then it breaks the glossary. So
we'll have to
we
look
need
into that. That's a bug. If it,
okay, yeah, that's a bug. We need to fix that bug because yeah,
and
I mean we
you
can do
run
it
the
manually, but
beta 3. You run the beta 3 of SpecUpT. Do you know that by heart? Because
do I know that I didn't understand the question.
okay, so there's we have a beta 3 for
Oh, beta 3.
beta
I-
sorry, beta.
Yeah, I don't
Beta.
know.
Okay.
I mean I
Yeah, we'll fix that.
there might be
apart from the meeting.
so there's an npm update or something I have to run on it.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. So it's an npm
Uh,
install of a beta 3 that fixed all the bugs that we've seen before. And that needs to
Is that
after
per
need to have that on board.
repo? Is that per repo or just
Exactly.
once?
Yeah, per repo. Yeah.
Okay, that's
We
the
will
problem
get to
because
a
I
stage.
did run it on one of the repos, but I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
run it
yeah,
on the
yeah,
other two.
yeah, yeah. You need it on all 3. Yeah.
All right. Sorry for that. Just
No worries. No worries.
want to. All right. So we should have in the next few minutes after Hank runs those, or within the by the top of the next hour, we should have the version 1 specs for people to review. And if you find any typos or anything that doesn't work or any links that are broken or anything like that, please create an issue or pull request so we can get those fixed so that we have a hardened version of the specs.
Are the links to them the same as they have always been?
They're now in the main branch.
Okay, but they are here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's another item. I want to ask Kevin if you're available. Can we move these to repos that say KERI Suite working group instead of technical stack working group, or make duplicates that say KERI Suite working group?
Yeah, I mean, if you do a rename of the repository, GitHub will maintain that redirect for you. So we've just never chosen to do it because we didn't want to introduce that ambiguity. If you guys want to go ahead and do that, yeah, make a request to the admins at Trust Over IP. But just beware if someone did come along after the fact and create a repo again called KSWG-KERI specification. No idea why anybody would ever do that. It will kill the redirect, so that any previous links would fail to work.
Okay, so you're saying rename or redirect?
Rename creates a redirect.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Thank you, Phil.
So
When you rename a repo, it both repos still exist?
Well, like Kevin said, it will, if you do a rename, it will create the redirect for you.
Oh, the HTTP redirect to the new repo name so that old
But
links
then
don't
if
break.
someone comes along and recreates this
The old
specific
name,
you clobber the redirect.
Yeah, then you clobber the redirect. Well, yeah, that's fine because hopefully over time people will start using the new one. And I can't imagine why anybody in the technical stack working group would want to recreate the KERI one. Okay, so we can rename those 3 repos then as part of updating to version 1, and old leaks won't be broken because the redirect will redirect it to the KERI suite working group URL. Is that correct?
That's my understanding of how GitHub rename works, but I haven't used it aggressively. So
Okay.
We're going to feel it. Yeah. So I got a reply for Phil. The specs that you've listed, these are always the latest. So what we'll do, and I've pasted that in the meeting chat, we'll create a version 1 that is a fixed version 1, so that we can build on top of that one on the latest version. So maybe you want to list the fixed versions later as well. The version 1.0.
You're going to do a branch?
No, that's not a branch. It's a SpecUpT feature that you can save versions, including all the glossary references from that moment. So you're not referencing stuff that changes all the time, but you have a
Oh, I see. This becomes a GitHub page.
yeah, it's an index.html GitHub page. Exactly. Yeah. So if you click on those, they will look exactly the same as the latest now.
Okay, so we want this link instead.
Let me see. Yes, these are the acceptance versions, and I will label them as version 1.0. After I've pulled in Sam's last PR, and then merged it into this version, and then we have a 1.0 for the Caesar. Is that, isn't it, Sam?
And there's a link in here too that links back to GitHub, so that should be fine, right? There usually is in specs.
Yeah, there's always a link
right there.
Yeah, that one.
Okay,
that
good.
goes to the latest.
Okay, so we don't need both links in our meeting notes. We'll just keep this link.
That's right.
Okay. And did I capture this correctly? The public review will be open for 1 month, concluding on November 11th, coinciding with our next KERI Stack Working Group meeting?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna bold that so it's out a little bit. Yep.
All right. Well, I'll go to these discussion items. We got 10 minutes left. I'll focus. The first one I won't spend much time on. Is somebody wants to? Yeah, if you'll go there.
So we want. This one, state registries and observers.
Yeah, let's go to that one first. So this is actually taken from the AC/DC spec. So if you scroll down, and so we've had discussions about what to call tell observers. And so to make the language normative, we're just going to call them, tell registrars and tell observers. So a registrar is a service that serves registries. And in version 2, we have the blindable, we have a registry. We have a registry inception event, and you can have blindable updates or non-blindable updates. And you can also have bound blindable updates, which are the 2 types of blindable values. And this just shows what happens. A registrar publishes registries. Observers are like watchers. They keep copies of registries and then make them available to people who want to know what the current state is. The reason for having both is, if you scroll down, is that you can't see the lines. That's weird. Maybe it's just because it's dark and the lines are dark. I don't know. Yeah, it might be because the lines are dark and they're not white. They didn't invert them. I think that what's happened. Anyway, that's just because your screen you're in dark mode. Anyway,
On my
Um,
screen, I can see them, but you're
Yeah,
right.
that's what I'm
sharing.
Yeah, in dark mode, they're not showing up. Anyway, for bulk update registries, the observers only see bulk updates of the registry states, so that there's no correlation between a point of validation, which is somebody presents a credential to some verifier who then goes to an observer to check the state, and when the state was updated, or so the registrar can't see the points of validation and track them. There would have to be forced collusion or out of band collusion between the registrar and observer, but there's no forced. The system doesn't force validators to telegraph to the registrars when they're doing a state validation, because they're not looking up, they're not doing, they're not asking the registrar for the current state at the moment that they're doing the validation. They're asking the observer, and the observer only gets bulk updates. So that's the important point about this diagram, is that when you go to when you go to bulk registries and bulk issued ACDCs, you can have herd privacy in terms of that update. Any questions about that? This is the language from the spec, but this makes it normative for how we discuss it in the community.
Yeah, so is the privacy, so when you say there's privacy and bulk updates, what piece of information is no longer observable when you're doing the bulk issuance
Well, so
or bulk
so
update?
bulk issuance, if you have bulk issuance, the each ACDC has its own AID, has its own registry. If you do full independent AID bulk issuance. So what you don't want to do is track the usage of that AID, that ACDC, and that registry, so that the issuer can track when it's used. So the bulk updates from the registrar to the observer gives you herd privacy about when the ACDC is used, because the verifier just checks an observer. The verifier could have its own observer, and therefore it doesn't telegraph that back. And the registrar won't give you a single registry update. You would use a sparse Merkle tree, and you would just update the Merkle tree like every 24 hours or something. You would send an update, and so you would decouple the communication between the registrar and the observer doesn't telegraph back to the registrar the point of validation events, so they're not trackable by the registrar. The observer could collude with the registrar and do that, but so the registrar has to have as a policy or law or regulation that says they're not allowed to track. What this does is it means that the observers can validate, and other vendors can validate without being forced to send information to the registrar that allows them to track.
I see.
So
So
that's
because the
that.
observer can get the state of multiple tells at once and a bulk update, then the issuer infrastructure that made that bulk update doesn't necessarily know which particular ACDC the observer is interested in, and because of that, then there's herd privacy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And
Okay.
so the observer will just accept the bulk update, even if it doesn't have anybody asking for states, right? Because it wants to maintain its state just like a watcher does. Like if you update your kel, the watcher wants to know the latest version of the kel, so it's always going to keep the kels updated, even if nobody's using the kel. And the same thing applies here. So that's that. So let's go to the other one, because we've got a couple of minutes left. This one's hasn't been discussed before. So one of the things that came up in my discussions, and there's no diagrams here, is that in some cases, a presenter or issuee of an AC/DC would like to know if their keys have been compromised. And typically a presentation is just signed. So it's, you sign it with the current key state of the issuee, and that's good enough for an ephemeral presentation. But it doesn't provide detectability in case the issuee's keys have been compromised, because you typically aren't anchoring presentations, you're just signing them. So for extra layer of security, if a issuee wants to for higher stakes, use of credentials, be able to detect if their if their signing keys have been compromised, that they could create their own usage registry. They would put an RD field instead of at the top level, nested in the down one level in the attribute block. Would be one way to do it. The ecosystem governance framework for that credential, we'd have to define how that's messaged, but then a verifier knows that credential, that presentation is not verifiable unless it's also anchored in the usage registry that the issuee creates. And so they would check against that. And since if it's using a blinded state update, then you could use one registry for all of your presentations, because every time because you would just be verifying against the latest state in the registry. And when you unblinded that, it would point to the AC/DC that you're presenting at the moment. And then when you do another presentation, you would just create a new anchor in your registry and point it to the AC/DC that you have to be presented at that point in time. And then if you want to have, if you're doing bulk issuance, then you would have several of these registries so that they couldn't correlate your usage to the registry. You could use the same AC/DC with a different registry every time you did a presentation. It just had to be anchored. So that would then mean that somebody who compromised your keys would also have to compromise your registry. And that means they'd have to anchor stuff in your KEL, and that means that it would be detectable by the issuer. So that would add a layer of security that locks down even presentations. So we're at the top of the hour.
Yep, and Hank just dropped a message about the KERI Foundation setup meeting and asked us to remind you to go to that.
Yes. Okay. So
okay, I've updated all these notes, so they're all set. We are officially in public review.
All right. Thank you so much for everybody's help.
Thanks, everyone.
See you later.